Hello, welcome to Jazz Emporium. So I'm Jazz the Tarot Reader. So this channel video is going to be about Syd Barrett, Roger Keith Syd Barrett, aka Syd Barrett from Pink Floyd. So his stuff's been coming up in my feed lately, and usually an artist, how I know to channel which artist is either they will come in my energy space or they'll keep throwing little signs and synchronicities for me to channel. So again, I do certain artists because they've had an impact in my life. So Syd Barrett, I had an impact when I was in high school, just as much as Ozzy Osbourne had an impact for me when I was in junior high. So Syd Barrett's a very enigmatic character. He's a very much almost a recluse at the end of his life, and his nickname was Syd. So Sid or Syd. So he's an enigma all of his own. He was an artist. He was the one that made the Pink Floyd sound. At the beginnings, like with Pied Piper at the Gates of Dawn and Saucer Full of Secrets and other singles they released out prior to their big successes. This was before Dark Side of the Moon or The Wall. So if you're a big Pink Floyd fan, you might want to thank Roger Syd Barrett or Syd Barrett for that. This man made a big contribution to his music, and he only had a short period of time when he was in music. Later on, he ended up having deterioration due to schizophrenia or drug-induced psychosis due to taking lots of acid. Hopefully, I can mention what happened to him without getting flagged by YouTube, because you might as well tell the truth at this point, right? You know? And he's a very fascinating, interesting character to channel. So this is my little intro video before I even channel him, and I'm already getting very intrigued by this person. Very elusive, very highly intelligent, and very much expanded in the mind. So this is for entertainment purposes only. Please don't be mean in the comment section. You know the rules, guys. Don't be mean in the comment section. Don't be attacking me, anyone else in the comment section, etc., etc., etc. I do hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope I can show you new musicians and artists to the One Direction fan base I have, and other people that just happen to be scrolling along watching, and you know, of my interpretation of the channeling messages I get. I hope you do enjoy them. So click here for the new video montage, and after that we'll do a channeling of Syd Barrett. I am so honored to do a reading for him too, because he's one of the greats. He was a very genius man on the guitar, and his lyrics are exceptional, very childlike but exceptional. So I do hope you enjoy this, and I'll see you in the next segment. Bye for now.
Very strange to meet you.
Hello, welcome to the Syd Barrett video to do with my channeling. For those who want to book a personal reading, please do so at jazzemporium.com. And please subscribe to my website, where you'll get deals coming in, and you'll get various different news articles and newsletters about various different witchy objects and stuff. And please submit your video requests, and or for international people wanting a reading from me, please get a hold of me at jazzemporium@gmail.com so we can discuss payment arrangements within your country. Okay, let me just find a clean page here. So we're going to be doing Syd Barrett from Pink Floyd, or Roger Keith Syd Barrett, I should say. Got my clear quartz. Okay, let's see here. I'm hearing shine on you crazy diamond, so I'm going to draw a diamond. Sometimes, guys, I'll doodle, or I will, what do you call it? Like scratch the page, because it helps me channel in. I'm also seeing an elephant with a balloon. He already Syd Barrett likes to doodle here, so I'm going to be drawing this. Maybe one day I will do, I'll show you sometimes what I do in my book, guys. But today's not that day, but you know. Okay, let's see. Spirals. Syd Barrett. Syd Barrett's sitting there laughing. He's going, thank you so much for bringing me here. And he showed me the Dark Side of the Moon. He goes, I know I wasn't on the album, but that was a brilliant piece of work. He's acknowledging that after he left Pink Floyd, he would listen to some of the albums. or he would listen to like snippets of the albums, or if his friends and colleagues brought the albums, he would listen to it. He goes, and he's bringing me back to the day where he heard Shine On You Crazy Diamond. He said, I was so out of my brain wavelength that he, like, it was a great song. I heard it, but I didn't clue in it was about me, he said. So I asked Syd Barrett, what happened to your brain for it to go the way it did? What happened exactly? And he showed me the acid tablets that he was taking. Like, he showed me bits of piece of paper, like acid. He said, I made friends with the wrong set of people, and they dared me to do a bunch of acid, and I couldn't say no. And I took too much. I was the type of person, he goes, I'm very childlike and curious. So I looked at everything with a curious sense of wonder. And I wanted to experience something. And I took too much. Too much, too fast, too soon. And it fried my brain. And I said to him, well, why did you want to take this acid? He goes, back in the 60s, you were about, I was going through a phase, and he's like kind of stuttery, but he's like, I was in a phase back then of trying everything. That was the 60s. You tried everything once. And he goes, I was the casual rock star. He said, I wanted to experience what it was to be that rock star. So I went and I took those drugs. Okay, so let's rewind. He's saying, he wants me to go further back. He goes, now that I've gotten that out of the way, he goes, and I'm not saying I didn't have schizophrenia. He goes, I had what they call a drug-induced psychosis, which appeared to be very schizophrenic. So basically what happened was I took so much acid that it took me out of my reality. It's like almost like you're stepping in. He's shown me Alice in Wonderland. He goes, I loved Alice in Wonderland. It's like you step into Alice in Wonderland, that hole, and into that world. And he goes, and I stepped in there and I never came back out. So I was almost like trapped in almost like an altered state. You know how I've said to you guys about 3D versus 5D? And I'm not saying, and side note, I'm going to put a disclaimer warning. If you have something like psychosis or schizophrenia, please do get the recommendation help from doctors, psychiatrists, and stuff like that. But I'm just saying, in this particular channeling, I'm sensing more that he like stepped out of his 3D conscious and went into his 5D. And it was almost like he had one foot. It's like I had one foot in reality, one foot in like the beyond. So it's almost like I'm getting that's like a drug-induced psychosis. Like he was here, but not here. There's someone in my head, but it's not me. So that tells me he was in an altered state of mind at all times, and he couldn't get out of it. He goes, I wanted to so badly get out of it, but I was trapped. And everything I was seeing and looking at was not what was really happening. So when they left me, when I left Pink Floyd, or when they said, right, you're sacked, it's almost like I didn't care anymore, or it's almost like I didn't believe it at first. I was kind of like, nah, they didn't do that. And it's like I felt the anger from rejection, but then I don't blame them because I was so out of my noggin, my tree, he says, that he basically in so many words said, I didn't recognize what was going on. Like I was out of reality at that point. So where did your creativity stem from, Syd Barrett? He goes, my father and my mother, they were very lenient on me. I don't know if he was the youngest child, or I'm hearing I was the golden child. I was the golden child. They loved my sense of creativity, my funniness, and I get that from my father and my mother. My mother adored me, he goes, and my father was very highly intelligent. And I wouldn't be surprised if my father had mental health issues alongside with me, because he was almost borderline genius. My father would spend a lot of time in his study. My mom was a homemaker, he said. My father, I think, was a scientist of some sort. So I had like contradictions. He goes, I had a soothing, caring, nurturing mother, a very doting mother, and I had a very much nose to the grindstone, hardworking father, to the point where he would work himself, and he goes, he worked himself literally to death. And he goes, when my father was 16, my father passed away from cancer. I'm hearing smoking. My father had problems with cancer. And he passed, and he goes, and that kind of set off my mental decline. I started to be more reckless with my body and mind. It almost put me in a childlike state. I didn't feel protected anymore. He goes, I didn't feel a sense of protection. I didn't feel a sense of ease. I felt like one of my best friends has passed away. Ooh, I need to... water. He felt like, you know, he says he felt like there was a gaping hole in his heart when his father died. And it's ironic that I died of pancreas cancer. I'm wondering, okay, I'd have to look that up, but I'm wondering if Syd Barrett and his father had a genetic link. Like, he showed me I died similar to my father, so it makes me wonder if they had the same type of cancer or not. I will confirm that. I'll put that over here if they did or didn't. Okay, so how did you get into music and creativity? He goes, I've always loved guitars. I'm a creative person. He goes, I love painting. I love my guitars. I love music. I love anything that I can creatively express myself with. You know, he goes, it's the British nature to be stiff upper-lipped and not be expressive of your emotions. This is kind of like a cheat code system. He goes, how to kind of express your emotions. So he goes, I just like the tactileness of paint. I like expressing my inner world. That's how I brought out my inner world. He goes, and plus it was a plus for the ladies too. The ladies will love you if you were creative. When did you first try acid? He goes, I tried acid a couple years after my father died. Somebody introduced it to me at a party, and I thought, why not? And it felt amazing. I felt my world in my conscious state of mind expanding. And ended up becoming addicted to that I wanted to be avant-garde. He goes, I wanted to create a persona where I wanted to expand my mind and I wanted to know all the wisdom. I was a very curious person, a mad genius, people call me, a mad genius. But it wasn't me being a mad genius. He goes, I was a very curious person with a brain that would never stop. I had a lot of impulse and I wanted to try it and I wanted to see what would come out of it. So I kept taking it and taking it. And yes, peer pressure. People wanted me to be permanently off my duff, or off my, you know, rocker. He goes, so I kind of fed into that persona, the mysterious, enigmatic, sort of elusive rock star, because it's funny, for as short as my career was, I became a legend all my own. The mysteriousness is what drew people in. I had that charisma, magnetism, and I'm not going to lie, he says, I played on that a little bit. I played onto it a little bit. Yes, I was mentally ill. He goes, yes, I was very sick, but I played into it a little bit, and that's what got people talking about my legacy after Pink Floyd kicked me out, he said. So I played into that whole mysterious elusivity of a person. I'm seeing a cup of tea. He goes, I like tea. He goes, I also like pork chops a lot too. He goes, sometimes people would be lacing my tea with acid. So I would be thinking I was having a normal cup of tea and people would be inducing me with acid. He goes, I took acid up to 7 times a day. And he goes, you call that blowing your brain out. Like, literally. Guys, and side note, I'm going to stop the channeling for a second. When you're taking substances like that, especially like psychedelics or mind-altering chemicals like that, ouch, my eye's bothering me, do not do acid like that constantly, because it does affect how your brain wires and how your brain thinks, and it rearranges everything. It actually can kill your brain cells. You'll literally, no pun intended, will fry your brain cell on acid. Don't ever do it. Like, that's one of the big no-nos. And the problem is Syd's indicating to me he took too many or too much at once, and his brain couldn't handle it, and it fried. So literally, he killed his brain. So he said, to the point where I became a recluse, but I couldn't function or take care of myself. That's why I had to leave Pink Floyd. It became too much. Another thing he was acknowledging, he didn't like the constrainingness that they were trying to tell him how to do his music. He said it started feeling like a machine after a while. And he goes, and I didn't like that constraining feeling. I wanted to experiment and stay on a psychedelic sort of contingency with the music. But they wanted me to make it all cookie cutter, and I just wasn't for it anymore. Part of me lost interest, and I didn't want to do it anymore. I simply got bored. But within that, I was also a person that was suffering from a drug-induced psychosis. So it was boredom, but it was also the resentment of that my brain was not functioning. I knew something wasn't right, but it's like you're trying to find a missing thimble, he goes, and it's like you're trying to find something and your brain can't find what it is, and you're just trying to fill in the blanks, but your brain's like, there's something not right here. So he's acknowledging that he knew the more acid I took, he goes, the more mental decline I got and the more severe it got. But I didn't put two and two together, or I did, but it was, like, it's not, I did care, but, you know, I was trying to keep up that image and persona of the rock star. You know, I thought there was no way that anything would happen. You know, we were told by stuffy people that, oh, you keep taking acid, it's going to ruin your brain. We thought, haha, they're just trying to scare us. No, it was actual facts and reality that if you keep doing that, you actually will mess your brain up, he goes. And I paid the price for that. And I disconnected from all my friends and loved ones. I didn't want to be around the Pink Floyd because it was a reminder of what I used to have, and there was a sense of sadness there, he says. It was a sense of sadness of what I lost because of my brain declining like that. So I just decided to keep as a recluse. And, you know, I was in my own little world. I felt happiest when I was painting. He goes, I'm at the happiest when I'm spending it with my loved ones, my close family, but I'm also my happiest when I'm sitting there painting. He goes, after years and years, and this is, he's telling me when he's going forward, he's saying years and years after the whole mental, you guys call it mental breakdown, I call it a drug-induced psychosis. I did get some of my faculties back, but I still could not permanently take care of myself, because it'd be like 1 minute I'd be okay and sort of lucid, and then I would go right back into it. And then I could be like cooking something on the stove, he said, and I would totally forget it was there, and the whole house would be burnt down. So I had to be taken care of by someone, and I lived with my close relatives, he goes, my mother until she passed, and then I lived with my sister. So I always had somebody keeping an eye on me, taking care of me for the remainder of my life until I died. And he goes, and I'm a big fan of sweets, he says. I love sweets. I used to go to the shops, and I used to grab a bunch of sweets, and I would go at home and eat. He goes, eat and paint. That's all I would do. I just wanted a simple life after Pink Floyd. I couldn't handle the rushing, the bustleness, you know, it felt like a machine, a cookie cutter system. I couldn't handle it anymore, he said. You know, and everybody expected me to be this persona, and I needed to get out of it, or it would have killed me, he said. That's why I stepped aside, and, you know, I felt that if I didn't step aside, it would have just bloody killed me, he said. So, that's what I get from that one, he says. How do you feel about your legacy? He goes, I'm actually quite happy that I was a part of that band. He goes, I was happy that I left such an imprint on them that even I changed the sound of rock and roll, he said. Psychedelic rock and roll, we changed that sound. We were intended to be a blues band, but we went into a completely different direction. I was inspired by a lot of blues artists, henceforth the name Pink Floyd. It was named after two jazz musicians, or blues musicians, and I combined rock and roll, I combined jazz music, and I combined R&B. I was very much into Bo Diddley and stuff, he said. Bo Diddley, he goes, I was inspired by Bo Diddley and all that. You know, he goes, I actually wanted the music to sound similar to their music, but we were all into the psychedelic stuff. The elusivity of my legacy is what keeps it alive. I think I heavily inspired Pink Floyd, he goes, to create their sound and to talk about various topics and things. And yes, my mental status and health actually inspired Roger to write some of his crucial hits that actually propelled them into success, because it was raw and real. He goes, I actually really did care about Roger. He goes, it was a shame that my brain deteriorated so bad that I couldn't share that success with him. He's particularly very close to Roger Waters, almost like a brother. He goes, I had other brothers. I had older brothers and sisters, but Roger and I, we were very close in age, and we bonded over the fact that we both lost our fathers. And that brought our bond together, I'm hearing. Like, he's saying, I bonded with him like a brother. And like I said, he goes right back to the studio. It was so nice to see him again, but I saw out of the corner of my eye that he was crying because of the way I looked. He goes, I altered my looks and stuff, and my personality was so altered that the spark from my eye was gone, that I was not the same person. And Roger, when he looked at me, understood that there was been a drastic change. So even if I wanted to come back, there would just be no way. My brain and my body were so altered at that point that I could never come back. I did get residuals and stuff too. I wasn't left empty-handed. I did get residuals. And that's how I sustained my living. I had my residuals. So I was taken care of. Roger made sure that I was taken care of. I never got to see Roger afterwards, but I knew I was taken care of. So I can only say that about my friend Roger, and he's fading in and out. He's very clear-headed, but he still loops back into that. You know, he's very, not a slow thinker. He's very much like giddy, almost childlike, but very like, very intelligent though. Like, very thoughtful when he speaks and stuff. I understood with Shine On You Crazy Diamond. I didn't understand it. I didn't register it was about me, but he goes, you know, I think I left him in shock when I came there. So, is there anything else you guys want to say? Or Spirit Team Syd Barrett? He goes, I appreciate every single one of you being inspired by my music and that you listen to my records and stuff like that. He goes, I do appreciate it. He goes, thank you so much. And, you know, God bless, he said. And don't forget to beat by your own drum. Another thing, too, he wants to point out is being an individual. He goes, you may not be understood by everybody, but at least be understanding towards yourself. And he says, and don't do a bunch of drugs. He says, you know, don't be into peer pressure. Don't be doing it to fulfill somebody's else rocks persona of you. You fill your own persona. Okay, so that's my Syd Barrett video. Thank you all for watching, and I'm really tired. That's probably why I ended this early. I could go hours and hours with that man. He's very exceptionally bright, but I am getting tired, and thank you so much, and bye for now.